It's late 2025 and vintage guitars have surprised us all by coming out with a range of 13, yes, 13 new guitar effects pedals. Now there's a handful of drive pedals in there, and you can see a video on those elsewhere on my channel if you'd like to do that. There's a trio of preamp pedals, there's an EQ pedal, and there's a handful of pedals that you put in your amp's effects loop, namely 3 modulations, chorus, flanger, and tremolo, a delay pedal, and a reverb pedal as well. And what I'm going to do in this video is show you those 5 pedals in as much detail as you'll hopefully need to decide whether or not you need to add any of these to your rig. Now these being vintage products, we can expect decent quality for the price, and the price is going to be really rather affordable, about 50 of your great British pounds or something similar in euros or dollars. We're going to have solid metal chassis for all of these pedals. They're all going to be mono, and you can't expect any mod cons for this sort of a price. So the delay pedal, for example, is not going to have a tap tempo or anything like that. But I'm going to play as many different musical samples as possible, and like I said, you can pick your favorites and let me know in the comments which one you think sounds best. Now my rig for today is going to be the 2025 Ibanez AZ Standard HSS model. That's a Strat type guitar with humbucking and single coil pickups, so we can basically get any sound available to musicians anywhere with that. And we'll be running the 5 pedals in the effects loop of my Hughes & Kettner Ampman Classic pedal board amplifier. Now that'll be on the clean channel on a neutral setting with no reverb or anything like that for the duration of the video. And when I want some crunch sounds, well, I'll be using the vintage Commander preamp pedal. This is a British crunch flavour of preamp, so it's going to be Marshall sounds in abundance. So listen out for that when any of the drive sounds are on. And there will be a dedicated video of all of the vintage preamp pedals on my channel at some point, so watch out for that one as well. So let's kick things off then with the first pedal that I would put in line in my effects loop, and that is going to be the chorus pedal. Now this has a retail price of $49.99 Great British pounds, so very much an affordable take on the chorus effect. And this specific circuit is, according to vintage, based on a legendary 1970s chorus effect. So we can assume something like a Boss CE1 or CE2. Now we've got 3 knobs here to shape our chorusy tones. We've got a level, a depth, and a rate. The level is going to control the volume, the depth is going to control how wide the chorus effect is, and the rate is going to control the speed of the warbles that we get going here. And we should get a light chorusy shimmer all the way through to some pretty psychedelic vibrato type tones with the chorus pedal. Now like I said at the start, all of these pedals are mono. You plug in here, you come out here, and you power them all via a standard 9-volt power supply, which is situated on the side on most of them. So this is the vintage chorus pedal. Let's hear it now. So that was the chorus pedal. Hope you enjoyed the riffs and the tones. And for me, this is just a great basic meat and potatoes chorus pedal. Now for this price and with these controls, you're not going to get anything wacky. You can spend more money if you'd like to do that with many other pedals elsewhere. But for 50 great British pounds, what you're going to be getting here is a classic chorus effect. It's not going to do anything way too crazy. For example, if you turn the level all the way up, it's not going to turn purely into a vibrato pedal. You're always going to hear your dry signal at some points. I do have to say that at the end, when you turn up all the knobs, it gets very seasick sounding, and that is an awesome psychedelic crazy weird effect. Not particularly musical, at least in my case, but hopefully some of you out there can use it to get some musical tones. But if you dig your hard rock ballad sorts of sounds, or if you're a fan of more modern bands like Tame Impala or Sam Fender, well, you're going to love the chorus effects that you can get out of this pedal. Really easy to use, really musical, really simple to dial in. I found that having everything back at about 9 or 10 o'clock just adds a nice lush shimmer to what could otherwise be seen as a quite boring clean tone. Do the same settings when you've got some drive on your tone and you get some great 80s hard rock sounds as well. So high marks for the chorus pedal, we're off to a good start. And the second pedal in the collection today is going to be the bright orange flanger pedal. This is appropriately a flanger, and we can see already that Vintage haven't really bothered to go to town with the names on these pedals. First we have the chorus, second we have the flanger. But hey, at least we know what we're getting because it says it on the tin. Now this is $49.99, just like the chorus in terms of its RRP, and you get 4 knobs on this one. We have a width control, a regeneration control, a speed control, and a delay control. You don't always get 4 knobs on a flanger pedal, so this should give us some extra layers of versatility. Now with a flanger pedal, you can get those traditional sort of jet plane taking off whooshy sort of tones, but I've found with flangers that I've tested recently, you can do great approximations of chorus sounds, of phaser sounds, and of other modulation sounds as well. So I've got high hopes for this one. Let's listen to the vintage flanger now. So that was the flanger pedal, and what a versatile little box of fun this one is. It does all the classic flanger tones that you would need and some more as well. With everything at 12 o'clock, you get that classic whooshing jet plane sort of taking off sort of a sound, and you can wind things back to make it a little bit more subtle or turn things up to make it absolutely crazy. You can also get some great chorusy effects, some nice phasery effects as well, and if you wind up the speed to almost full, you can almost do an approximation of like a rotary speaker, a Leslie speaker, a rotating speaker basically, so it's going to be doing a univibe sort of effect as well. That makes the flanger an extremely versatile option, and you can kind of use it to cover almost all of your modulation needs. I found this pedal was great also with gain on to do some really snarling, swirly sorts of heavy 80s rock and metal, so I can really highly recommend that you check this one out if you're looking for an affordable modulation pedal. That's the flanger, really impressed with that one. And third on the list is going to be the Tremolo. Now this is an incredibly simple affair. We've just got two knobs on this one for intensity and rate, and well, vintage tell us that this pedal is based on the analog tremolo circuits that you would have found in those golden old, presumably Fender amps of yore. So I'm really looking forward to this one. What we can expect here is classic tremolo goodness, maybe some nice spacey Americana sounds, and maybe even some more ambient stuff too. Now this pedal will set you back $44.99, so it's more affordable than the chorus and the flanger. Tremolo is probably the modulation effect that I use the most. I like to use it to spice up a clean tone, to give me some nice ambient Americana sorts of tones and some really choppy sounds as well. Everyone knows that Boulevard of Broken Dreams riff by Green Day, for example, so hopefully we can get that riff and a lot more out of the two knob tremolo pedal. That was the tremolo pedal then, and I have to say I gelled with this one straight away. Despite just having two knobs, it's got a wide variety of tremolo sounds in it, from some light ambient sort of tones all the way through to those full-on choppy volume in and out tremolo sounds that we all know from that Green Day riff, for example. Now, I noticed two awesome things when I turned on the tremolo pedal. The first was that the LED here blinks at the speed of your tremolo. Not an amazing thing that everybody needs, but I thought it was a real cool little touch, and it is helpful occasionally when you look down and you can really use your eye to measure how fast the throbbing of the tremolo is coming and going. And secondly, I noticed that there's no perceptible volume drop when you engage this pedal. That quite often happens with tremolo pedals. The maximum volume is not quite as loud as your dry signal, and that does put me off a bit, and I know it puts a lot of you off as well, but that's not going to happen with the vintage tremolo. So again, if you're looking for an affordable, decent tremolo, this is definitely going to be one to look at. So the tremolo is a very decent pedal too, and fourth on the list is the one that I was most excited about before we started, and that is the delay pedal. Now, vintage tell us that this genuinely is an analog delay pedal and not a digital delay doing an approximation of an analog delay, so it's a real analog delay. This will set you back $44.99 Great British pounds, so very much an affordable delay pedal too. And we've just got the three controls here: level, delay and repeat. And in terms of the maximum delay time here, you're going to have 600 milliseconds, which for an analog delay is nothing to be sniffed at whatsoever. And with a pedal like this, we should be able to get everything from a nice little slapback sort of a sound to thicken up our tones, all the way through to some stylistic sort of effects, and maybe even some washy ambient goodness. Let's hear the delay pedal now. So that was the delay pedal. Hope you enjoyed the riffs and the tones. And this is my new favorite so far, by the way. As soon as I turned this on, I realized we've got a really decent analog delay on our hands here. And the other thing that I noticed upon turning it on was the fact that this circuit, just like the tremolo, has some kind of a boost in it. Now, some classic delays, like the Echoplex, for example, are so beloved for their boosts that they have in their circuits that people often use them with the delay part of the circuit not even on. They'll just use it for the lovely boost that it gives you. And the vintage delay gives you a really rather nice boost. And I did do a couple of samples where you can hear exactly that with no delay in the signal whatsoever. Really nice to have that as well. A really nice bonus at this sort of a price point. But how does the delay sound? Well, happy to report that it sounds really rather lovely. And I do think that this is a genuine analog delay. If it's a digital version, well, they've done it really rather well. You get these lovely sort of soft, warm repeats where the top end just sort of disappears every time the next repeat comes in, and it delays and decays really rather nicely. So it's a really nice sounding thing, and I found that it's great as a slapback sort of delay. Set everything to about 9 o'clock-ish and you get some great tonal fatness for clean tones or for driven tones as well. Start to edge up everything and you get some great stylistic effects for indie rock and garage rock, stuff like that, even some nice reggae sort of repeats. And I found that if I turned everything up a bit, if I maxed out that 600 milliseconds of delay time and turned up the repeats almost all the way to about 3 o'clock, we got some great ambient tones as well. And I could imagine that this would pair extremely well with a reverb pedal, for example, the vintage reverb that's coming next. One thing this delay also does, which I think is wonderful, is it self-oscillates. So if you turn the repeats all the way up, let it go, it will do that crazy, weird, zany, warbly thing, and you can hear that also in the playing part if you'd like to go back and listen to that. So for this price, for £44.99 Great British pounds, this is a really rather awesome little delay pedal. Really excited about this one. This one's definitely going on my affordable pedal board. And fifth and finally in today's lineup, we have that vintage reverb pedal. This is the most complex looking of the lot with 6 controls on it, and it's the most expensive of the bunch too, at £59.99 Great British pounds. So what can we expect from it? Well, in terms of those 6 knobs, they're a little bit cryptic if you just go by what's written on the pedal. We've got res, which we can assume could be resonance, CFR, LPF, could that be a low pass filter? Maybe. Then on the bottom we've got PRD, which I'm going to guess is pre-delay, mix, self-explanatory, and decay as well, also self-explanatory. And if I go to the Vintage website, we can go through and double check what these knobs actually mean and what they do. We can indeed see that res stands for resonance, and Vintage say that this is a rather subtle control that kind of simulates the room settings, and the more you turn it up, it's going to give you a more boingy, more splashy type of reverb with a longer reverb roll-off. Now next, in the middle here we had CFR, and apparently that stands for center frequency, and Vintage say that that's effectively a tone control here, which goes from a dark sounding reverb all the way up to bright and sparkly sounding reverbs that cut through nicely. Now next to that we have the LPF, which I assumed was low pass filter, and it is indeed a low pass filter. Now this is also going to be a secondary sort of a tone control that regulates how many highs you're going to be letting through into your signal. Now the bottom row is a bit more self-explanatory. Of course the mix is going to be how much of the reverb you have in your signal. The decay is going to be how long the reverb is going to stay, dwell, it's often written as on many reverb pedals. And we have PRD, which is pre-delay. And if you turn that all the way down, the reverb's going to come straight in. Turn up the pre-delay, it's going to give you a bit of delay to your signal. So there's a lot to tweak and a lot to dial in here. I'm really looking forward to testing this one out, and it sounds a bit like this. So that was the reverb pedal, and there was a genuine smorgasbord of reverb tones to be had with this one. Now straight away, with everything at 12 o'clock, you can notice this is much more of an ambient sort of a reverb pedal than kind of just a gentle room or a gentle spring reverb or something like that. It really wants to go big, and when you turn up the mix and the decay, you don't get full wet, but you get massive sort of modulated halls or even churchy sort of reverb sounds. Real nice and big for ambient sorts of styles, but this is maybe not the perfect reverb pedal for you if you're looking for something like a drippy, subtle spring reverb or a small room. It will do a small room, but because this is more of an ambient reverb, to me personally, it sounds a little bit sadder than a standard room reverb would. I think it's a great reverb, but if you're looking for something more simple in that sort of a regard, well, you're going to find something a bit more springy elsewhere. There's no spring reverb in this one whatsoever. But with judicious use of the controls on this one, there are a wide variety of reverb styles available. Having the mix and the decay right down does give you a nice sort of a room sound, and you can use the tone controls, the resonance and the pre-delay to make it sound smaller, bigger and ambient, or just have it a little bit less in your face. This pedal is great at doing the less in your face sort of sounds too, so don't be scared of it. It doesn't just do ambient. If you want to use it to fatten up your lead tones, you can do that. If you want to do that to add a bit of texture to your clean sounds, you can do that as well. But ramp up the knobs, add a delay, for example the vintage delay to this, and you're going to get huge walls of ambient sound. Perfect for post-rock and progressive rock sounds, perfect for stuff like Mogwai or Godspeed You Black Emperor or anything like that. So this is a wonderful pedal for so many different kinds of reverb, and again comes highly recommended for me, especially at this price point where good reverbs are hard to find. So those are the 5 new vintage effects loop pedals, as I'd like to call them. We had the 3 modulations, the delay and the reverb. Let me know which one you thought sounded best down there in the comments, but for me, if I could only take home one of these, that's quite a hard decision really, because 3 of them have really caught my eyes and my ear. I think the one I probably would go for if I could only pick one would be the delay. It's a very, very versatile pedal. You can approximate reverb with the delay pedal as well, and it does so many nice little delay sounds all the way through to some pretty ambient tones too, so I could really find a use for that. I love the variety of tones that you can get with the flanger as well, and I'm a huge fan of that classic tremolo sound as well. So that's a trio that I could really see ending up on any of my pedal boards, not just an affordable pedal board to be honest. And the reverb pedal is great too, don't get me wrong. The chorus pedal's nice as well, but that's the most kind of basic of the bunch here in that sense. It does what it does very well, but the rest of them just go a level beyond, at least for me. Share your opinions. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? I'd really love to hear what you folks think. Don't forget to watch the video I did on the new vintage drive pedals. There's a fuzz, 2 overdrives and a distortion, and there are some very gnarly tones to be had with those pedals too. That video is going to be linked in the description and in the cards. Now, if any of these 13 pedals have really caught your eye and you'd like to see me do one of my standard fully in-depth and detailed review and demos on it, let me know in the comments. I've got these pedals for a bit longer, so hopefully I'll be able to get that sorted for you at some point as well. But if you're still around, it would really make my day if you wanted to give this video a like, or maybe even sub to my channel, because that really does help. But that's been it for today. I've been Rich, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.